guys, my name is Risha and welcome to RheeTV. Y'all, you will never guess where I am at. I am at my old stomping grounds, Royalties ATX, where I used to be a radio host. And today, we're gonna link with my girl Jordan and just get to hear how this came about. So let's go check it out. And I am here with the beautiful Miss Jordan Lowery, who is the creator and visionary of Royalties ATX. Yes, so y'all, let me tell you something. This Women's Empowerment Series has been something that I've been wanting to do for the past 7 months. And I finally said, you know what? We're just gonna do it, even in the middle of a pandemic. So here we are, we're here, and I am just so ecstatic and grateful to be here with you.
Yay!
And the reason that I chose Miss Jordan here is because you are just the epitome of what a boss lady is. You know what I'm saying? So for the people who don't know you, Jordan, go ahead and give us 3 words that best describes who you are.
Ooh, okay, 3 words. Determined. Okay, number 2, I would have to say coachable.
That's really good. You have to be able to be coachable. That's
yeah.
Really good. I like that.
Number 3, I'm a believer. So yeah.
Yes, queen! I love that. Y'all, and literally right before we started shooting, she said, hey, could we pray? So
yeah.
Good for you. That's amazing.
Thank
How
you.
long have you been a believer and, you know, believer of Christ and all that? How'd you get into that?
No, I mean, I was raised in church, Baptist church.
Okay.
Didn't have a choice, you know. We was there every Wednesday, every Sunday growing up. You know, but I have to say, like, being an adult, you know, you make a choice whether you're going to pursue that relationship, you know, and being in the entertainment industry, sometimes it's really hard. You get into some really like dark places, but I like to say that I'm the light in the darkness. And I know-
I love that. I am the light in the darkness. I like that a lot.
Because I know that I have like a pretty good influence on others around me. They're like, what is it about you? I'm like, yo, this ain't me, this is just Jesus.
Right.
You know, and I'm not perfect. I'm not like, you know, a lot of people look at me, they're like, oh, like you preaching this, but then you doing this and da-da-da-da, you know. But God knows my heart, and I know that only He can judge me, and I know that I'm on the right path because He reminds me all the time. So
all the time, yeah. Absolutely. And you're right, nobody is perfect. And I think the fact that we're still trying, we're still believing, we're still having faith, we're still trying to establish that relationship with Him, that's really all that matters, you know? And as long as you're trying to be the best version of yourself every single day, and you're grateful for every day,
yes,
that's really what it's about, you know?
Definitely.
So for people who don't know what you do, right? What exactly is Royalties? How did this come about? And what was the motivation behind where we are today?
So, you know, I moved to Austin. I'm not originally from Austin. I moved to Austin, I guess in about like 2013, 2014. Just got around a group of individuals. I always wanted to do something. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to get out of the small town that I was in. Shout out to Lake Jackson. I love Lake Jackson. I love Lake Jackson, but you know, I had to, you know, I just felt a calling. And whenever I tell people, I'm like, just follow it. Like, even if you don't know what your dream is, you just gotta follow your heart, you know, and you're gonna figure it out. But came to Austin, I obtained a photography mentor who kind of showed me the ropes, and I invested into myself. I was a part of the co-op, so I started like, you know, paying monthly and being able to utilize a studio. And I was like, you know, I could see myself owning a studio one day. And, you know, I just got people around me, and we, you know, created ideas, and we started Royalties ATX in December of 2015.
Wow.
2021 is gonna be our like 5th year in business. So this is the year, baby.
Aww.
Okay, yeah. So I think, you know, like we're gonna be, you know, I'm gonna see the turnaround of my investments and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. But Royalties ATX, we're a multimedia production company. We specialize in photography, film, podcasting, events. really everything. It's kind of hard to put a cap on like what we do, just because we do a lot of different things and we have different avenues that we can move in, but yeah.
Overall. You talked about, you can't really there's really no exact description on what Royalties ATX is, right? But where do you really see it going in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I see Royalties just being like this, ultimately like this platform for people to utilize. I mean, just like today, we have like this space. We have Royalties Radio, which is a great podcasting platform. I definitely see that, flourishing and growing into something huge.
Yeah.
It's really just like a growing vision. So one thing that I do want to talk about a little bit later is just how when you maintain your vision, you might have to adapt to keep that going. Because whenever I first started Royalties, I was like strictly photography. I was like, that was my thing. Then I got into throwing events and I got into other things and producing things. So becoming more of like a producer. I see myself as Jordan, as Miss J-Walk, just as a producer working on huge sets, putting everything together. I love organizing things.
Like music videos?
Music videos, any type of film, creating content for people, creating content and helping people market themselves online. I'm really trying to study about Instagram and the algorithms, and everything is changing, and so I definitely see us doing more stuff like that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So overall, you just mentioned the vision thing and it pulling you and it changing. Can you go a little more like in depth about that? What do you mean?
So just like, let's say like with the coronavirus, nobody expected our whole entire economy to shut down.
Yeah.
Like at first, like I was hearing about coronavirus, like actually during our podcast, one of our hosts was like, yeah, the Wuhan virus is about to come and take over. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, and then a couple of months later, it was the coronavirus. And then, cause she's really into all of that, to the news. And so she knew about it a while back, but coronavirus came in and it really like just changed everything.
Yeah.
And so, people are having to adapt to that, DJs, event promoters, even us, a lot of our businesses in nightlife and production and entertainment. So whenever a crisis comes in, entertainment is kind of like the last thing that people start, they stop spending money on that. They're just trying to save, So just with that, we had to adapt. Hey, how can we create more content? How can we engage with our audience more? How can we really, monetize off of the situation?
Right.
So that's what I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. Even just with a production like this, there's always gonna be some type of hiccup. There's gonna be something that you have to overcome, and I know that so you're just gonna have to keep on going. And it doesn't mean that your vision has to change, but you're gonna have to grow into your vision, adapt or die. You have to adapt or die.
It's funny that you say that because that's what I had to do for RheeTV. Prior to this, I didn't do IG Live.
Yeah.
Now I have to do IG Live because just like you said, how can I basically reach more people? How can I think outside the box? How can I still stay relevant, right? And I think one of the ways that I decided to start doing that is just having a bi-weekly show. Yeah. And letting people know this is what I do, this is what my brand is all about, kind of thing. So that's beautiful that you do that because you have a lot of people who just stay the same. They don't want to change. They don't want to do anything. They kind of just want to stay. They just want to be stable, and they just want to
be comfortable.
Chill.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in this industry, you can't be like that.
Yeah.
The industry is constantly changing. The equipment is improving, so
and cutting in price and all of that. It's crazy what you can really do just with your phone, like you said, with the IG Live, and just just being creative and utilizing what you have right now.
You have everything you need.
Yeah.
I did this speech a couple of nights ago, and I was talking to the youth for church, and they said some kid asked a question. I don't necessarily really remember exactly his question, but he was basically talking about he said, I don't have any money, I don't have anything, I'm down bad. And this kid's like 15, and I'm over here like, you don't know what down bad is, you stay there with your mama. But I said, let me tell you something, you literally have everything you need. I said, it might not be the most high quality equipment. You're not your best self yet. I said, but that's where practice and time and experience and the energy and you continuously doing things, right?
Yeah.
And I said, prime example with me, whenever I first started radio and I first started doing film and all of this stuff, it's like, bro, I was horrible. I was just cutting people off. I didn't really enunciate. I was shy. I would forget my question. And over time, now it's just effortless and it flows and it just comes about. And then one of them said something about YouTube. I said, use your phone. I use my phone sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I said, when I'm on vacation, I use my phone. Yeah. And I said, you literally have everything you need. Just do it. I said, get out of your head and literally just do it.
I feel like that is what holds a lot of people back because like you said, you know, people do want to be comfortable. They feel like they need everything right now in order to start. But it's like, no, you should actually start with what you have. And all those like, you know, failures and practice, like you learn from each failure. So failure is not even failing.
And you are absolutely right. I feel like what you do control is how you react to it.
Definitely.
You know, I think the only thing that you really have control of is yourself in this world in general with life. Right? So
your mental state.
So that's beautiful and that's awesome that you're learning to just adapt and you're just pushing through. And you know, I like what you talked about in the beginning. You said you knew that you wanted to do something, you didn't know what, but you just kept following it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like that fire.
Talk more about that because kids need to hear that. You know, I feel like that's something that I needed to hear growing up because it's I only thought, okay, you go to college and you get a good job. Yeah. You know, nobody really ever talked about following this calling, this thing that you have inside of you, right? Whether it's photography, whether it's just like you wanted to do public speaking, whatever. Yeah. I think talk more about that and what kept you following that calling that's instilled in you.
So I'm following my calling every day, and even whenever I get so down on myself, like I swear, because like the stress of production and events and you know, sometimes it does get you a little bit out of character just because you have so much pressure and you're like, do I even want to do this? But every time I felt like that, God would like reward me with this feeling later on in the night. Like at CEO Wednesday, I would just look around and I'd just be like, oh, this is so awesome. Like I feel like where I'm supposed to be. So just those moments of just feeling like
fulfilled.
Yes, exactly. Just so like you're full. You know,
your heart is so full.
Yeah.
You're just I know
because it's bigger than me, and I don't think of myself as like a photographer or an artist. I just think of myself like as a public figure, and I'm doing all these different things. And you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. I knew I loved film. I knew I loved photography. I knew I loved creating stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know how far it was going to take me, but you know, I just kind of continued to follow it. And I didn't have that really introduced to me at a young age. You know, I didn't take the college route, you know, and sometimes I really wish I would because I see what it does for people. I see the connections but the thing about me is I try not to compare myself to others.
Comparison kills joy.
You know, and so I'm just like, this is my path, this is my testimony. So to other people, you know, you might not know what you want to do yet. You know, you might not know what that calling is, but if you just challenge yourself and do things you like to do.
Absolutely.
You know, if you like to eat,
you gotta tap into what you're good at.
Yeah, you know, and you do have to challenge yourself and get out of the comfort zone a little bit, but like if you do things that you like to do, you surround yourself with people, you have good conversations. Mm-hmm. You know, especially during this whole pandemic, it's like, you know, we haven't really been able to network as we normally would, go out and meet people, you know?
Right.
But just having like conversations with people who are like-minded and following up on those conversations, I feel like is super powerful because it starts there.
Absolutely.
You know,
community.
Community is very important. And supporting each other. And I feel like we just all have a purpose, and not everybody has the same purpose. You know, we all need for everything to flow in life. You need different positions. You know,
absolutely. I like that you talked about that because I think maybe like some kids watching this, it's very hard to see certain kids having the opportunity to go to like whatever college, right?
Yeah.
Getting a full ride. I recently spoke to a close friend of mine and they said, I kind of felt judged a little bit because they were like, you went to Texas State, why didn't you go to UT? Why didn't you go to A&M? And I said, sir, money, okay? At the time, I had a single mom, you know what I'm saying? And obviously growing up, I felt kind of, I don't want to say less than, but maybe that is the word that I'm looking for, because I felt like, okay, maybe I wasn't good enough for that school, or I wish I had that opportunity. I wish I got to go to that school. So you're right, comparison does kill joy. You comparing yourself to other people, and we do all have a different purpose. We do all have a different calling, right? And I think you're just staying in your lane, creating your own lane.
Yes. And one other thing I want to touch on, like whenever you compare to people, and I know that, you know, I'm not very proud of everything that America stands for, but we have people who literally risk their lives to come here, and they come here with nothing.